Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhatam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashivasamaramham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Vande Guru-paramparam Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankara Vavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can start, Bela. Jai Gurudev.
गुरुदेव हरि ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः भक्ति योगः। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः। So we had repeated the verse 13 yesterday. So I will just read quickly the last few paragraphs, which are very important. Okay. Jnani has no ahankara and mamakara. Nirmamaha, one who is free from the sense of mind, the sense that something belongs to him. This notion can remain even if one gives up all possessions, even if one is a sannyasi. He may not have any real estate or a bank account, but he can still have the sense of my body, my mala, my kamandalu. This sense of ownership, mamatva, goes only when ahankara, which expresses as I am this much alone, goes. As long as the sense of I is fixed in the physical body, dehatma buddhi, there is the notion of oneself as an isolated individual. Once that is there, the idea of mine, mama pratyaya, is impossible to avoid. You can give up as many things as you like, but his mama pratyaya will not totally go until the ahankara goes. What goes, in fact, is not the ahankara, but the notion of the reality of the ahankara. Once a person has jnana, there can be no notional ahankara because the notion stems from self-ignorance. Ahankara and mamakara support each other's existence. Unless you say these things are mine, ahankara cannot really be sustained. But even relatively speaking, there is nothing one can claim to own if you analyze it. A mature person looks upon everything as belonging to Ishvara. He finds himself endowed with few things towards which he has the attitude of a trustee and does not suffer from the inflated notion that he has accomplished everything he has, a notion rooted in ignorance. This is a person who through Viveka has gained maturity and is relatively free from a sense of insecurity. The fact that what will happen is well known to him, and thus he enjoys a certain relaxation and readiness to face things as they come. There is trust in himself, trust in Ishvara, and therefore a lot of inner freedom. That is a mature ahankara, but still not enlightened. A kind of mamakara remains, though not to the degree we generally see in the people. He is a karma yogi, a bhakta. In this verse, however, the person talked about has no notion of I, aham pratyaya as the body, etc., a notion that comes from self-ignorance. On inquiry, with the help of Shastra and the Guru, he has discovered himself to be free from being one physical body and sees that he is, in fact, everything. His vision is aham idam sarvam. I
Jai
am all
Gurudev
this.
Bela.
Yeah,
Sorry. Can you just read the previous paragraph
yeah,
regarding the karma yogi, the ahankara of that? Yeah.
yes. Ahamkara and mamakara support each other's existence. Unless you say these things are mine, ahankara cannot really be sustained. But even relatively speaking, there is nothing one can claim to own if you analyze it. A mature person looks upon everything as belonging to Ishvara. He finds himself endowed with a few things towards which He has the attitude of a trustee and does not suffer from the inflated notion that he has accomplished everything he has, a notion rooted in ignorance. This is a person who through Viveka has gained maturity. I repeat, there is a breaking of voice. This is a person who through Viveka has gained maturity and relatively free from a sense of insecurity. The fact that what will happen is well known to him, and thus he enjoys a certain relaxation and readiness to face things as they come. There is trust in himself, trust in Ishvara, and therefore a lot of inner freedom. That is a mature ahankara, still not enlightened. A kind of mamakara remains, though not to the degree we generally see in the people. He is a karma yogi, a bhakta.
Yeah, so this karma yogi or a bhakta still has the little bit of dvaita that is there, but he trusts in Ishvara and he takes everything as coming from there. So, and he only considers himself as a trustee. He doesn't have that thing that aham bhavana, that thing that I have achieved this, I have done this. So that part is not there. So that is the difference between. It's actually a transition between an ajnani who is steeped in self-ignorance, ahankara, mamakara, who thinks everything he does, he is the one, and therefore he has a stronger ahankara and mamakara compared to a karma yogi. For him, because of that maturity, because of that viveka, he considers everything to be coming from Ishvara, because he trusts in that and he trusts in himself. One step further is the jnani, for whom there is no difference between him and Ishvara. So even that part is not there. So yeah, I think that is how I understood it. Yeah.
Dhanyavad. Very beautiful. So the Krita Kritya Brahmaraji, I asked my teacher, she said it's a Gnani.
Yeah. No. Krita Kritya is a jnani, but
Yeah.
what was the description of the Krita Kritya was our discussion yesterday.
Yeah. In this verse,
Please go ahead.
In this verse, however, the person talked about has no notion of I, aham pratyaya as the body, etc. A notion that comes from self-ignorance. On inquiry, with the help of Shastra and the Guru, he has discovered himself to be free from being one physical body and sees that he is in fact everything. His vision is aham idam sarvam. I am all this, and therefore the individual I sense has gone. This can only be a jnani, not a bhakta in the popular sense of the word, who is necessarily an ajnani, because he makes a division between himself and the Ishvara he worships. There is a breaking of voice, Dr. Renu.
Only, yes. I don't know if everyone has it or only me.
Oh. There was no notification from my side, but again, if you want me to read anything for again, Dr. Renu? If much of breaking of voice?
It's okay. It is really funny. I don't know about that.
Okay. Is it for everybody? Okay, I'll just.
Yeah, I think there was some breakage. Yes. So you just go on for a minute or so, Bela, in case it's continuing. Then
okay, I'll just repeat once again because this is very important topic. So ahamkara and mamakara support each other's existence. Unless you say these things are mine, ahamkara cannot really be sustained. But even relatively speaking, there is nothing one can claim to own if you analyze. A mature person looks upon everything as belonging to each. He finds himself endowed with feelings towards which he has the attitude of a trustee and does not suffer from the inflated notion that he has accomplished everything he has, a notion rooted in ignorance. This is a person who through Viveka has gained maturity and is relatively free from a sense of insecurity. The fact that what will happen is well known to him, and thus he enjoys a certain relaxation and readiness to face things as they come. There is trust in himself, trust in Ishvara, and therefore a lot of inner freedom. That is a mature ahankara, but still not enlightened. A kind of mamakara remains, though not to the degree we generally see in people. He is a karma yogi, a bhakta.
there is a bit of break, Bela.
Yeah, can someone help?
Yeah. Can I
Let me.
request someone to just take over for about 15 minutes, and after that I will take on.
Yeah, can someone take over? I can continue sharing screen. Hari Om.
In case
Can
there is
someone?
nobody, no problem, Bela. I will take it over. Just give me 1 second.
Madhuri or Mrinalji or anybody. Dr. Mara is not there.
I will take over, Bela. 1 second. Just give me a minute.
Kavita ji, anybody? Okay.
Jai Gurudev, I can, one, but give me 1 minute, please.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, Rinalji. धन्यवाद धन्यवाद I'll just wait till Mrinalji comes. In this verse, however, the person talked about has no notion of I, aham pratyaya, as the body, etc., a notion that comes from self-ignorance. On inquiry, with the help of Shastra and the Guru, he has discovered himself to be free from being physical body and sees that he is in fact everything. His vision is Aham Idam Sarvam. I am all this. And therefore, the individual I sense has gone. This can only be a Gnani, not a Bhakta, in the popular sense of the word, who is necessarily an Ajnani, because he makes a division between himself and the Ishwar he worships. Are you there, dear Manana?
I'm just trying to take off the audio from my
No
laptop.
problem. Yeah. This paragraph just reminded me of King Janaka's story, Ashtavakra, when he was in the knowledge session. Ashtavakra's, the rest of the disciples, they were feeling that the Guru is very biased towards the king. Since he is a king, he is not paying more attention to us, he is paying attention to him. So they complained that, and he said, but he is the one who is the best, Ashtavakra said. And then they asked, I think we already had this story. So they asked that how do you claim that he is the best? And then in that time there was a fire in the palace, and everybody ran to save their belongings, including those disciples who had nothing except their clothes, inner garments. But still they they ran towards the hut to save their, except King Janaka. He stayed there along with Ashtavakra. So the things were over, and that time they asked the king why you did not move. So he said he had faith that the things will be taken care of. So much faith in the Guru and Ishvara.
Yes, I can start reading.
Okay. Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad.
From where do I read?
Yeah, Gnani is equal in Sukha. I think I read this. You can read this last paragraph. That does not mean that a Gnani cannot be a Bhakta.
Okay.
Dhanyavad.
Jai Gurudev. That does not mean that a Jnani cannot be a Bhakta. As we have seen, he is included in 4 types of devotees. The Artha, who worships only when he is in distress. The Artharthi, who enlists Bhagwan's help to accomplish his various ends. The Jignasu, who wants to know who is Bhagwan. And finally, the Jnani, who appreciates Ishvara as essentially non-separate from himself. He is, in fact, the only Bhakta because his bhakti is fulfilled. All the others are qualifying themselves to become real Bhaktas. Though they are all dear to Ishvara, the Jnani, he says, is myself alone. Jnani tu Atma Eva. That is who is being discussed here. Jnani is equal in Sukha and Dukha. Samadukha Sukha. The one for whom Sukha and Dukha are equal. How can one be the same in Sukha and Dukha? When in order for there to be Sukha or Dukha, the mind must undergo a modification. If you are to have emotional pain, your mind cannot be the same as it was when it was peaceful. It must undergo a change. Similarly, you cannot experience Sukha without the mind undergoing a change. Yet, it is said here that this person is equal in Sukha and Dukha. It looks like a contradiction. In saying this, there seems to be an acceptance of Sukha and Dukha for the Jnani. If he has these, how can he be equal? They both imply a change with which one identifies to say on oneself, I am happy or I am sad. There can be no Sukha or Dukha without the I sense. Perhaps then, when the mind has Sukha or Dukha, the Jnani just witnesses it as Sakshi. But if he is a Sakshi, his experience cannot be called Dukkha or Sukha. there appears to be some difficulty here. We should understand that Sukha Dukkha means situations that generally cause Sukha and Dukkha, occasions that normally call for condolences or congratulations. If there is a death, we offer our condolences because as a society we consider that death makes those who are left behind unhappy. Each society has commonly accepted situations that are a cause for sorrow, dukkha, pra, dukkha, prapaka, dukkha prapaka, or rejoicing sukha prapaka. I, I hope I am reading it right. When such situations occur, a person who is samadukha, samadukha sukha, samadukha sukha is the same, neither getting elated nor depressed, which is possible only when you do not depend upon situations in order to be happy. If you do, you are going to be emotionally unstable, elated when things are conducive for you and dejected when they are not. This is not the case for the one whom they call samadukha sukha. It is easy to say you should be equal to sukha and dukkha, but this is not a piece of advice. The point is that a person who is dependent upon situations for his well-being will be subject to emotional ups and downs, and who does not uh, one who does not has discovered that the self is fullness, purna, which therefore cannot be improved upon and absolutely secure and timeless. I'll read this again. Uh, and it will be subject to emotional ups and downs. And one who does not has discovered that the self is fullness, purna, which therefore cannot be improved upon and absolutely secure and timeless, being Satya Atma. Knowing that the self is Satchit Ananda Swarupa, he is Samadukha Sukha. In situations that cause dukkha, not conducive to his comfort, he does not become dukkhi. It is not a question of merely enduring a difficult situation. Anybody can do that. What is different about Jnani is that he does not become dukkhi. This is not a matter of behavior, modification, but a fact to be understood and quietly recognized, which takes inquiry. It is because of his jnana that he is equal, not because he is following a mandate. Mandates like be equal in conducive, sukha karaka, mandates like be equal in conducive, sukha karaka, and non-conducive, dukkha karaka situations create conditioning and therefore a psychological pressure to which you eventually must succumb and lose your sanity. Therefore, even though such statements have relative truth, it is important to understand them properly. Mandates like this create an ideal from which people necessarily distance themselves. The ideal is I should be like this, but the reality is I am not. And the greater the list of shoulds and should nots, the greater is person's estrangement from himself. If finally one day you can drop these ideals, you will discover that you are fine. You can have goals that is different, but if you decide to achieve one goal today and tomorrow you choose another, it does not matter. Tomorrow, if you want to, but it does, but it is not an ideal. Another, it does not matter. If you want to accomplish something in 2 years, you plan for that, but it is not an ideal. Tomorrow, in the wake of new knowledge, you might totally give up the pursuit or extend it for another 5 years. That readiness to reshuffle your ideas and objectively face challenges as they come is sanity. Being the same in the face of sukha and dukkha is not valid as an ideal because it is not possible when there is self ignorance. But sukha dukkha situations can be faced with relative equanimity, that is yoga. Samatvam yoga uchate. You take the results of actions as prasada, as we have seen, and thereby acquire an manageable mind, the mind of a yogi.
Ninal, sorry, can you repeat this thing about this last paragraph?
From the mandate?
From the mandate, yeah.
Okay. Mandates like be equal in conducive, sukha karaka, and non conducive, dukkha karaka situations create conditioning and therefore a psychological pressure to which you eventually must succumb or lose your sanity. Therefore, even though such statements have relative truth, it is important to understand them properly. Mandates like this create an ideal from which people necessarily distance themselves. The ideal is I should be like this, but the reality is I am not. And the greater the list of shoulds and should nots, the greater is person's estrangement from himself. If finally one day you can drop these ideals, you will discover that you are fine. You can have goals, that is different. But if you decide to achieve one goal today and tomorrow you choose another, it does not matter. If you want to accomplish something in 2 years, you plan for that, but it is not an ideal. Tomorrow, in the wake of new knowledge, you might totally give up the pursuit or extend it for another 5 years. That readiness to reshuffle your ideas and uh, ideas and objectively face challenges as they come is sanity. Sorry, I'll read it again. The readiness to reshuffle your ideas and objectively face challenges as they come is sanity. Being the same in the face of sukha and dukkha is not valid as an ideal because it is not possible when there is self ignorance. But sukha dukkha situations can be faced with relative equanimity. That is yoga. Samatvam yoga uchate. Samatvam yoga uchayate. You take the results of actions as prasada, as we have seen, and thereby acquire a manageable mind, the mind of a yogi. But for a person who has knowledge, it is different. Knowledge makes one free from dependence on situations for his well being, security, and happiness.
So when he talks of yoga here, it means karma yoga. So karma yogi has this relative sukha dukkha. He's got that equanimity in when faced with situations that cause sukha and dukkha. Whereas for a jnani, even that is not there. He because of his um, inner freedom, because of self-knowledge, he's like that sakshi. He just watches them happen. He's not even ruffled.
Hariom Brahmaraji, here I believe there is a little more to that. The perfection we have in our mind, no, that this thing should be like this and that. Is it also being told? So many times we have that preconceived, no, it should be like this, it should be like, it shouldn't be like that. So Gnani is beyond those all.
Which is true. Even for a karma yogi, that yoga, it means he's drawn that distinction saying it's not just like a behavior modification, it's much beyond that. It's not like a mandate. It's not like an ideal that we look at, this is how it should be, this is how it should not be. Then it will only be an imposed thing on us. Like for instance, we say you should be humble, you should not let your ego come up. So supposing you've done something and you've achieved something and you say, oh, I should be humble. So you're just forcing yourself to be humble, but within there is still that you're not completely truly humble from within. Similarly, with respect to sukha and dukkha, it'll be an imposed thing. You'll endure. Supposing something not good is happening, you'll only endure it. It is not coming from an inner understanding. There is a karma yogi, that yoga, samatvam yoga uchyate, that implies that out of viveka he's able to, because he's taking everything as coming from Ishvara, whether it's good or bad. So with that understanding, he's got that samatvam. For a jnani, even that aspect is not there, because he sees everything as himself. So sukha, dukkha, what are they? They're not even that pairs of opposites for him. They're just something that that is happening. He's only looking at them as a witness.
Very beautiful.
Whereas a karma yogi still goes through that little mamakara is still there, that little mature ahankara is still there. So therefore he attributes everything as coming from Ishvara. Ishvara prasada, he takes it. And he's in that space of he's just doing his part, and whatever comes, he's ready to face it, whether it's good or bad. So therefore, he also has that relative samatvam that he has, but that comes out of practice, right? So that is why it is,
work in progress.
Correct.
Jai Gurudev.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to this is a query for me, that if a person is facing some odd situations and he accepts the situation as it is, but doesn't the effort, he should do some effort to improve that situation. We have to act that way also, no, that we are accepting the situation, it's fine, but the effort should be made to make it more feasible or more acceptable and more easier for us, so that because the purusharth also is equally important apart from this state of mind, that accepting everything as such as it is coming.
It is true, which is why we talking. Gurudev says not passive acceptance, but active. So you do it, but then even then, with respect to say family members or people around, you just educate, and then he says ignore, educate and ignore and move on. We're not just ignoring things, we're not just accepting things I mean, however they are. You're taking that responsibility to educate, to make a difference. If there is someone um, in our arena field of interaction that is causing some, you think that he needs or she needs to be told that this is what is going on and this is not right, you speak one on one and then educate that person and just ignore after that, not become like a nagging person or till that person changes. No, we can only do this much, right? But you take that responsibility, you do it and then leave it so that then you are free. If you have
Yeah.
not taken that step of educating, it'll keep hurting you, it'll keep pinching you. So you've done your bit, now leave it.
Yeah, and one aspect more, like when we do, we have some problems in our horoscope, and we make a like to amend that, we do some puja. Is it also acceptable in the Shastra, or is it that as a Jnani we should not go for it? What is your opinion? Should we go for some puja, or just we accept what is coming? That also sometimes it you come in a conflict. These are conflicting ideas which normally we face in our lives. What should we do?
Okay, Gurudev. It is like asking if you're not unwell, you're sick, and should I go to doctor or not? See, these are the remedies which will help you come out of the situation, and surely not all the situations, but wherever your karmas could be changed, which are flexible karmas, I mean, which could be changed, will definitely be changed. And just I was reading Guruji's, listening to Guruji, and he said, yes, it gives you roadmap. The astrologer will give you roadmap. It is not a fixed thing, even. But if you're going through difficult situation, the remedies are also prescribed. So follow those remedies. This was what told by Guruji. Yesterday I was listening to it. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Mrinalji. Like, we should go for it then. We should be doing to a particular, like with some limitation, like not go beyond. To some extent, we can do what we can. Is it right?
Yes, if you are feeling like doing it, definitely you should be doing it. But some people don't believe in these things. Then forcing doesn't help. It has to be done with faith that this will change. Then only such things will work for you. Even if somebody tells you to chant mantra, and if you're really not wanting to, just for the heck of it, if you're doing, it may or may not work. It
Yeah,
should be
faith is
done with,
important.
yeah, faith is important.
But then that comes out as a kamya karma, right? You're doing it for a change of your situation. So you actually are a karmatha, not a karma yogi. A karma yogi is in that complete acceptance that whatever is happening is Ishvara's mandate. So whether it's good or bad, whether he's going through a tough situation, he will go through it happily with a smile. He is not going to do anything in order to um, kind of willfully change that course. I'm not talking of this passive active acceptance here, that with respect to other people. But here it becomes a karmatha, isn't it? Where he wants to do this homa or this puja in order to alleviate his situation. I don't know.
But
Maybe
is
that's a
is
fine
it,
line.
yeah, but is it not like going to a hospital or taking help of doctor? It I take this as similar to that. And
Yeah,
whatever
your
results
analogy is
comes,
right.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, whatever result comes, I accept it. But whatever is it, this is active, what you call acceptance. Okay, there is a trouble, and if you go to a good astrologer, he will tell you the remedies, whatever is needed for that, and this may or may not change. Like if you're sick, you might be cured or may not be cured, but then you do this. You take medicines or you go through surgery, knowing that this may or may not cure. But you do that, right? You just don't sit at home. That will be passive. And if you believe in these things, if you believe in these sciences, and if you feel like doing it, you should do it. This is what is my opinion.
Yes, I agree. Because otherwise, where the Purushartha comes then? Prayatna and Purushartha is part of a Karma Yogi also, no? There is some, Gurudev also says, no?
Prayatna and Purushartha over here, Prayatna and Purushartha over here is about your inner maturity, isn't it? It is not in doing karma. See, we've been learning that through karma, through action, you don't get liberation, you don't get moksha. So all this, yes, no doubt. I'm not denying the fact that doing this particular homa, puja, something may alleviate your situation. That's fine. That is on one level. But when you look at what are we here for? What is our ultimate purusharth? Is it to make our life comfortable, or is it to gain that ultimate freedom? To recognize that we are free in our. So with that, no amount of karma or karma kanda that we do is going to get us there. It is only through jnana. So when you have that jnana, like what happened to Ramana Maharshi and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, they were going through a lot of physical difficulty, isn't it? They had one of them had laryngeal cancer, the other one had a lot of pain. But if they reached that level of jnana where that body consciousness was not there, they didn't feel the need to go to a doctor, maybe. So isn't that what state that we are all aspiring to be in? So the more we get dependent on this, I'm not saying you should not do it. Go ahead and do it, but don't be so dependent on that. You see that maturity should come from within. With or without that puja, whatever has to happen will happen. So when you have that trust and that faith, then probably even this dependence on this upaya or that upaya will slowly start waning off. Maybe it's a transition phase. For people who require it, yes, please go ahead. That's what I think it is. That's my take.
I want to share one real story. 5 years back, during the Rudra Pujas happening in the Mumbai, when Swami Vaishnapan was in the Mumbai, and he became so sick, and he was not ready to go to the hospital. But in emergency, we have to take him to hospital, and he was admitted, and he had some stomach issue and all. But he was not ready because he is Swami or what. He was only saying ki, I have faith, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. But for a bigger cause, we need to take care of our body. So Gyani also will take care of his body. He will also do something for himself, because that whatever baggage he has brought, that somehow he has to loosen up. So I think everything mix is important till he is really above the body. Means like Ramakrishna, means when the work is over, he was knowing. So he was not concerned for his body, ki it will remain or not. But till the goal is accomplished, we should do, I think.
I think, and one of the hurdles in our hurdles, it's been said, no, bodily discomforts or diseases,
obstacles in the path
obstacles,
of yoga.
yoga, yeah. So to overcome that, these are the remedies have been prescribed earlier. For the karma yogi, may not be the jnani may not need all of this, but I'm not sure if he will go through or these remedies or not. But I think as a karma yogi, this will be a natural response to our taking care of our body or whatever discomforts we have, to make us comfortable while we are walking. Not and making an too much of a fuss about it. We could just, if you feel like doing it. I mean, if you are not feeling like, if you don't believe in these shastras, then there is no question. But if you believe in these shastras, there is no harm in taking help of these things.
No, I'm not talking of belief or non-belief in the Shastra. Karma Yogi, of course, believes in the Shastra and takes it as pramana, yes. But when, if you remember, we've learnt about different kinds of karmas we do. Kamya karma, nishkamya karma, um, nitya karma, naimittika karma, all of that. So for the Karma Yogi, he does not do kamya karma, isn't it? Kamya karma is what is all those that you do. For instance, that putra kameshti yaga, he desires for a son. He's not getting a progeny. So there is this yaga, this homa that they go ahead and perform. And because of that adrishta phala of his previous vasanas, samskaras and all that, he gets this thing. So that becomes a kamya karma. What I'm saying here is a karma yogi, a true karma yogi, will be probably is beyond even this, because he does not, he is he's on the path of knowledge as well. He's pursuing knowledge alongside doing his karma as a duty, taking everything as prasada from Ishvara. Whereas one step below him is a person who's aiming to be a karma yogi. So for him, when he goes through all of these obstacles, like what you said, vyadi, all of that, then he may he may feel the need to do these homas. So I think we have to gradually scale up and loosen up our dependence on these, is what I'm saying. Not that you believe, not believe. It is not a question of belief. Of course, the whole Karmakanda part of Veda has a significance. When they do a yaga or a homa for rains, of course the rains come. No doubt about that. But are we going to remain in that realm, or are we going to ascend higher and move on? Is the question there.
After having this knowledge, there's always a conflict now, taking these aspects of life, to go for it or to do not go for it. So it still remains a dilemma, basically. Na? When you see the Shastra, you think that what is happening, let it happen. It may be some purpose is behind, and maybe that is for your spiritual growth, because if you have some odd situations in life, they are for the spiritual growth. But then the second mind, it thinks that if these are available, can we try, can we go for them? So this conflicts keep on coming. And I don't know, still I am in confused state. What should we do? We are not at, like for my brother, he's like that, whatever is happening, let it happen. I will not do anything. He just focuses on his karma. But myself, it is like I take both aspects of life, the karma part also, and that puja aspect also. That the rituals, rather, you can say that what do you say, the Naimitya karma, all these, Nitya Naimitya karma.
Nitya karma.
I,
No,
yeah. So
I
it
think as
is,
part of Nitya karma, whatever you've taken up as your Nitya karma, you will
yeah,
have to continue doing it, even as a karma yogi.
yeah.
That is part of Antakarna Shuddhi. What I'm talking of is, supposing there is some difficulty, you're going through a difficult phase. That is,
Yeah.
I think that is
No,
how it is come up. No?
yeah, so that aspect only I'm talking. Like if you are doing, you have that both mind you have, that you do the karma also, and you are into these ritual prayers and homas also. Then there is a conflict. Like I have always a conflict. He doesn't have a conflict. He says it's fine. What is happening? Let it happen. You have to go through it. But being in these type of knowledge also, you know that you can do something, you can do a prayer, you can do a job or whatever, like these, according to your difficulties, the pandits, they say you do this, do that. That is the conflict, whether we should go for it or not.
See,
It
it is
now.
sorry,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
actually individual choices. So our preferences we have to follow. If your brother wants like that, he can do that for you. If you want to do the prayers or pujas, you can do that. For Gyani, it is not a must thing. He can do or he cannot do. Means he is not bounded by these things, no?
But reading so much of knowledge, do you think we should go for it? This is the main question. Like,
We should use our intellect, what is needed that time. If prayer is happening, when the prayer is happening, when we just need it, only then the prayer happens. So if it is, time is demanding for you that, then you should do it.
yeah, it's still a dilemma state. Thank you. It's, I think it all
Jai
depends
Gurudev.
on the kala. I think what Kal wants
Even
you to
thought,
do.
whatever the thought is arising according to the time and the um,
Yeah, it's the
conditions,
take of the
yeah,
time, I
it's
think.
happening like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Thoughts also arises like that only, no? So right moment, right thought will come.
See, I'm not sure whether this part is apt over here. Gurudev talks about two kinds of devotees. One who is a little weak and he's like holding on to the mother, like that the little monkey that holds on to his mother. Whereas there's another one, I think it is, not sure if it's a cat or a monkey. Don't know, Percy ji, if you remember
It's a
that when
cat.
you,
It's a cat. Yeah.
cat,
The
right?
cat
Cat between
cat mother
cat and a
holds the
monkey.
cat. Yeah. The kitten is held by the cat mother in her
In the
mouth.
mouth.
But the teeth don't hurt the kitten.
So I'm
Whereas
not sure whether this is relevant here. So if you think you need help, you need that strut, that support of that homa puja to keep you strong, so be it, go ahead, do it. But if you are nischint, you know you are taken care of. You're like that kitten. The divine is taking care of you. So again, it's based on our mindset, like someone said just now. Depends
uh,
on where you are, whether you're the kapi or you're the kitten.
even Guruji has said that you go towards the ocean and watch the waves. And somehow at a point of time, say it's like sunset, and you're watching the waves passing by. And at a point of time, you'll find that you become hollow and empty. Somehow the waves have just taken away whatever was troubling you, and you're feeling light and energetic as you walk back, isn't it? And the same thing, if you are indulging in prayer, what is happening is the cosmos is taking care, just like the ocean took care, the waves of the ocean took away without even your realizing it. The cosmos is taking care of you when you are indulging in prayer. You may have reached out to God, I have reached out to Guruji in my times of sorrow. It's okay. We have reached out. Whether you look at it as a karma, artha, or whatever. Okay, at that point of time, that happened and we went to that level. We were disturbed in our mind. And as far as active and passive acceptance is concerned, I feel one also has to look when one is disturbed as to is my ego coming in play? What am I looking upon myself as? Am I thinking of myself as being the superior most in the household? How am I in my relationships with other people in my house? How do I treat my husband? How do I treat my mother-in-law? What is my relationship with them? Am I giving them unconditional love no matter what? Are we able to do this or not? That will solve a whole lot of problems if we can give unconditional love, not come from an ego position that I am an advanced course teacher and I need not do housework or nothing of that sort. I can do both, like, and feel that I'm doing something because of the unconditional love I have for my husband or wife or my mother-in-law or whatever. So A is, am I able to give unconditional love? Whatever you give, you will receive 1,000 times, thousandfold in return, is what Gurudev has said so many times. So only one who is enlightened can set you free, like Nanaji. So, or Gurudev. But those who have knowledge can pass on knowledge. So you can only give what you have. So just you need to start giving out unconditional love, as I said, and serve not with a grudge. I have to do everything, but serve because of that love that is there within you. I need to do something for my family members or for society in general or whatever. And there will be people who have only that much capability or ability to do seva. They will not be able to go beyond that seva stage. We know that there is much more to be done. See how much time Gurudev passed in America to make this WCF happen. How many months he passed there? How many times he went there at his age? And he was doing so many things, and finally it happened. So look at from where he is coming. How much of seva he himself is doing. Yesterday also I mentioned to you that putting mattresses in room, working in the kitchen with the kitchen staff, filling tanks up with water, everything is checking every tank. So much of humility and humbleness in him. Isn't that an example setter? Why should we grudgingly do any work that we are doing? Then that is an ego position that we are holding on to. It should come with love. Or then use your skill set. Next time, then you just drive away somewhere. Don't come back home. Maybe that fellow will also come late. You have not taken the responsibility for getting the job done. The more responsibility you take, the more powerful you get. That is not happening in your house. Next time, use your skill set. You stay away. On your mobile. Like when I am there, I tell Brahmaji to help me. She puts this thing out because chapter 4 I had missed out. I had gone on an advanced course. Then I was in Ulhasnagar. The people there did not give me the password for the Wi-Fi network. So I had to watch it on my mobile data. But she helped me in getting that happening. She put it in on that day this thing. So I could watch it. And therefore you have to find your own way. Sit in your car and watch it and then come home. Let it be late and let that work not be done. Oh, he was told to come early and he didn't come. Then you are also not upset. Everybody knows who's at fault. And that person gets exposed the way you wanted it to be. And fine, you move on. So what if the ritual did not happen? Anyway, as we are looking at it, you are having two kinds of thought processes as far as ritual doing is concerned. So it's okay. Let that ritual not happen on time or let it happen late or let your husband also go through that, whatever has to. Okay, this person didn't come on time to help with the cooking. But after doing it, feeling miserable, then that slight amount of unconditional love and ego needs to be looked at, is the way I look at it. I have been sending distant healing to the person concerned. I've been praying for you that your mind stays undisturbed, is what little I could do from my side that I've done. And I'll keep doing it for a few days. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you so much, Pasiji. It's so comforting. And this is the thought I was having yesterday, that next time I will do my job, what is my job, and would not put my foot unnecessarily where there it is not required. Yeah. Thank you so much.
There is
Jai
a,
Gurudev. Here, from the broader perspective, I want to put one point. See, Devloka has its own importance and place and a role to play. And this part of the world called India, we have given these rituals and these things, and the mantras and the invoking of the deities. See, the vibrations change so beautifully. That's why we run during the Navratri to the ashram, no? Even in the house, see, I am not a person from childhood. As I said, my left brain was always a very dominating in my personality. So, like, I was never a person of doing pujas and everything. Even the normal house में it's okay कि दिन में एक बार जाके उधर प्रणाम कर दिया at the altar. But definitely the chanting, even the Guru Puja chanting you do, how much vibrations change within you and around you, and that really helps your mind intellect to work in a beautiful way for your seva sadhana satsang also. So see, we are talking the extreme of jnani, like Ramakrishna Paramhans ji, that is the example towards his end. But now when the facilities are there, you can use IVF, you can use all the highest technology in the medical field, and then also sitting, no, this has to happen. We need to take the remedies. We need to take the help of the devlokas also, and that is the unnat, the highest evolved living also, no, from all angles. Otherwise, why Gurudev will every Monday he will perform the Rudra Pujas? Why he keeps the vibrations so high uh, through these all pujas, yajnas, continuously it is happening. That is why the vibrations are so different the moment you step into the gates of the ashram. And he
So here,
always says, ki, make your every house as a ashram. So we have to little bit at least keep that thing also. Of course, we are on the way. We have boarded the train, but still, I think we need to maintain these things. Jai Gurudev.
no, I'm happy that this discussion is happening because a lot of lot of aspects are coming in. Here, the question is not, we are not denying prayer, importance of prayer. In fact, Swamiji himself said some time back, prayer is the highest form of expression of self-will. So that is there, no doubt about it. A karma yogi, of course, is a person who prays. He's a devotee. He accepts Ishvara as the karma dhyaksha and the karma phaladata. And he will pray. The question here was when Savitaji asked, when we're facing some challenge and then some astrologer tells you, do this homa, do this puja, do we go ahead and do that? Or what do we do? A karma yogi will still pray. He's going through a difficult situation. He'll pray for strength to face that situation, to go through it. It is not to alleviate that situation. That is the difference, I suppose, between a karmatha and a karma yogi. Between him doing that whatever homa or puja with that kamya, that desire, that has to be alleviated. That situation has to be alleviated. Whereas a person who's a little more mature will pray, no doubt, will pray to get strength to go through that situation. I think that might be the difference, subtle difference. Maybe we should get some more guidance. Maybe we can keep this as a question for Nana when we have a question coming up. This is not the belittling prayer. No doubt, we've gone through this discussion, prayer, of course, has its role, it creates that ambience, it creates the positive energy, the vibrations. But with what intention are you praying? When you're doing Guru Puja, you're just doing it out of joy, or is it for something else? A Karma Yogi does everything out of joy, isn't it? He's not doing it for something. He's not doing it to achieve some end in the end. No. He's yeah.
Yeah, understood the difference. What is the motto behind it is important. Jay.
And one last thing is that we can pray for each other. When somebody is going through a very disturbed times, even our prayers, whatever distant healing we send, that works. We pray for that person, mind not to be disturbed. Like we ask for blessings for that person.
That will be so beautiful. Pramraji, can you say that thing? I mean, do as much as you can. It means something like that. Kartum shakyam.
Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell. Even that day, I was remembering when Savitaji had this. When we feel the trouble, when we go out of the way and try to do something, and that's where our expectations also go higher, and that we need to take care of. Plus, again, we have these mandates, and just now we read about mandates, no? Like we have some mandates, like and then we create some conditioning out of it. Just little bit talk. Can I read few lines over there? It's to do with the mandates.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Belaji, are you there? Because this, again, the questions are arising because we have these mandates, like we should do this, we should not be doing this. And that's why I felt we should read that again. Maybe that will make more sense now.
Which one? This page?
Yeah. Mandates, here. Mandates like be equal in conducive Sukha Karaka and non-conducive Dukha Karaka situations, create conditioning and therefore a psychological pressure to which you eventually must succumb or lose your sanity. Therefore, even though such statements have relative truth, it is important to understand them properly. Mandates like this create an ideal from which people necessarily distance themselves. The ideal is I should be like this, but the reality is I am not. And the greater the list of shoulds and should nots, the greater is person's estrangement from himself. If finally one day you can drop these ideals and will discover that you are fine. You can have goals, that is different. But if you decide to achieve one goal today, tomorrow you choose another, it does not matter. I think few lines I wanted to make clear that we have been caught up in should and should not. I think we just drop and be spontaneous, then that might help. Is that what it means here?
Could not
Should I
follow
read?
what.
Yeah.
Uh,
Should I read complete para or should I go further?
You were asking something, I think, Mrinalji.
Yeah. So we have been caught up with shoulds and should nots. This is what it says. And these are the mandates have been given to us. Some concepts, we should be like this, we should not be like this. So these mandates like this create an ideal from which people necessarily distance themselves. The ideal is I should be like this, but reality is I am not. This is what I wanted to emphasize, because now we want to be like that, but we are still not that. That's what I am saying. We are still grihasthas, we are still on the path of karma. And if we have been asked to be Gani, we are not yet. This is what I wanted to say. We are still on the path. Yeah.
Yeah, I will just give one small example, live example. I know we've been discussing this, should and should not, and mandates and ideals. So we are on this path and we are reading, we're going through the Shastra. We have this faith that this is what is going to be liberating us, right? That is why we are pursuing all this. And then we have these questions of whether we should do this homa, this puja, whether we should do it, not do it. A live example is my own younger sister who used to be doing a lot of karma kanda aspect. She would do a lot of puja, she would do a lot of rudrabhishek, she would do a lot of chanting. In fact, they have a Shivalinga that is consecrated in their backyard. So she used to involve herself a lot into the puja aspect of ritual aspect of prayer over the years, and she continued to pursue the jnana path. I mean, they would have these knowledge sessions and manana sessions and all that. Now she's transformed. I mean, they just dropped off, just like how that we say urvarukamiva bandhanat, right? As you move along, I think naturally, because of your effort in this path, maybe some things just drop off and you're dispassionate towards it. Now she's not really bothered about the ritualist aspect at all. It is not like she's belittling it. It is like she has moved on. She doesn't have the need to do it anymore. And I think that comes from that inner maturity. So we are all in different levels of growth, isn't it? So I think it is, like someone said very rightly, it is an individualistic aspect, but we continue this path with the knowledge, with the faith that this is what is going to liberate us. But one thing for certain is we all should be, especially that we are pursuing Bhagavad Gita and we've learned Atma Bodha and all that, is no amount of karma will liberate. No amount of karma as an action will liberate. And that is what even Gurudev said. He said, no amount of your Sudarshan Kriya meditation is going to liberate. What he meant there was that all these are also actions. What liberates is only knowledge. So with keeping that as uppermost in our mind, it all depends on our individual samskaras, our vasanas. So it is okay. I think we should move along lightly, like Gurudev says, walk lightly like a cloud. So take it. If you really want to do it and your mind says, if I do this will be good, go ahead and do it. Nothing, as should or should not. And then maybe there will come a day when you feel there is no need for me to do it. When faced with a similar challenge, you will say, okay, I'll go through this. I just wanted to share this with what happened to my own sister. So I can see that transition in her.
She developed that equanimity in mind. Everything looking as similar, like that equanimity which happened over a period of time, that made her drop, and that fear aspect have gone.
Correct.
No fear.
And I think that is Ishwaranugraha, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is what we read earlier. It is the grace of Ishvara that will give you the path, that will show you a teacher, that will take you to this knowledge. So that faith we should have. That Shraddha that is why Shraddhavan Labhate Jnana. That Shraddha is very, very important. We cannot be doubting this.
You all are so evolved souls. Your whole family is evolved souls. Very nice, very beautiful.
Should I continue reading? Jnani has Shama, and therefore he is Shami, one who has forbearance, forgiveness, and can retain his composure in spite of hostile situations. Sorry, I didn't read it right. And therefore he is Kshami, one who has forbearance, forgiveness, and can retain his composure in spite of hostile situations. This again is not an ideal. If you take it as such, it only creates pressure, which will vitiate you very pursued. Just drop Kshama as an ideal and understand it takes to have Kshama. Condemning yourself for not having Kshama is another form of idealizing, which will only cause you anxiety and keep you struggling and seeking. If there are no ideals, but rather certain things to understand in life, you will find you are a seeker, a jitnasu. It is a small shift, but it makes such a big difference. Absolutely, this is the natural expression of a jnani. As a thing to be understood and assimilated, it is a sadhana. What is kshama? What does it take to remain composed under all hostile situations? Only when you are ready for the worst it is possible. And the worst that can happen is death. This can be handled only by a jnani who knows that though time kala devas the entire creation, he devas time in the sense that he knows he is free from time and thus devas the whole jagat. Facing death is not an issue for him because there is no death. If you say the body dies, he will say it is dying all the time. The cells are constantly changing, and since the body is objectifiable, its nature is to be destroyed. Drashta Nashta Swabhava. It is not going to die on one particular occasion. It is always changing. The mind is also constantly dying because a thought is always momentary. Kshanika Atma. On the other hand, it is not subject to change because it is not subject to time. Sorry, I missed one line. The mind is also constantly dying because a thought is always momentary. Kshanika. Atma, on the other hand, is not subject to change because it is not subject to time. Therefore, I does not die. Right at the outset, Lord said, Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha. There is no independent existence for the apparent, and Atma, which is existence, Sat, does not have abhava, non-existence, which means that it never dies. What dies alone is dying, and this is generally accepted. Only if I dies is there a problem. When the sun sets, we do not mourn its passing because we know that it is the nature of things to change. Once you understand the nature of something, you do not expect it to be different. There is no complaint that sugar is sweet or vinegar is sour, because that is their nature. The body is changing, and so is the mind. It is their nature. But Atma never changes, again, because that is its nature. Atma can never be made to. Belaji? Atma can never be made to change, and the body cannot be stopped from changing. Since you cannot change the course of events, why grieve over it? A wise person is unruffled because of this knowledge. Even if a jnani is physically injured, he understands that only his body is harmed. There is no sense of being injured, or if the injury is deliberate, insulted. Sorry, I read it wrong. He understands that only his body is harmed. There is no sense of being injured, or if the injury is deliberated, insulted. The physical body may be black or blue, but inside, being awake to the fullness that is the nature of Atma, he is free from emotional bruises. I'll read this again. A wise person is unruffled because of this knowledge. Even if the jnani is physically injured, he understands that only his body is harmed. There is no sense of being injured, or if the injury is deliberate, insulted. The physical body may be black and blue, but inside, being awake to the fullness that is the nature of Atma, he is free from emotional bruises. Relatively, Shama is an attitude based on the understanding, which can also be seen as forgiveness. We can see how natural this would be for a wise man, but as a value, it is a dangerous concept. Who are we to forgive? The whole world has forgiven us, allowing us to live as we are. This whole notion of forgiveness just creates distance. There is nothing to forgive. Again, we only have to understand one another. All of us are different because of differences in our thinking and backgrounds and, and are all in the process of maturing. If you understand that, you will find that nobody is bad or good. Therefore, Shama means one who is naturally accommodating. Accommodative. Santuഷ്ടः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मे भक्तः स मे प्रियः. Hope I read it correctly. Santuഷ്ടः, the one who is completely satisfied. Satatam, always. Yogi, one who is united. Yatatma, who has mastery over mind. Dhrudhanishchayaha, whose ascertainment is firm. Mai arpita manobuddhihi, whose mind and intellect are resolved in me. Ya madbhaktaha, he who is my devotee. Sa me priyaha, he is beloved to me. The one who is completely satisfied, who is always united, who has mastery over his mind, whose ascertainment is firm, whose mind and intellect are resolved in me, who is my devotee, is beloved to me. Such a jnani is my beloved. Such a jnani, Lord Krishna says, is my beloved, me priyaha. The use of the sixth case is exactly as it is when you say Mama Atma, which means simply me, Atma. Similarly, when he says Me Priyaha, he is beloved to me, it means he is one with he is one with me. An example often used to illustrate this kind of genitive is Rahoha Siraha Itivat, like Rahu's head. Raho Siraha Itivat, like Rahu's head. In Indian astrology, Rahu is a shadow planet consisting only of the head of a dragon. Even though there is no real position possible here because there are not two things consisting only of the head of a dragon, even though there is no real position possible here because there are not two things, one of which can possess the other. We have the expression Rahu's head. Similarly, me Priyaha, my beloved, is more accurately my Ananda. The most beloved thing in the world is Atma, for those for whose sake everything becomes pleasing. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Previously, Bhagwan also said
Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati.
Bhavati.
Yeah.
Previously,
maybe after we finish this paragraph, we can stop here today, huh?
Okay, yeah. Previously, Bhagwan also said, the Jnani is myself alone. Jnani tu Atma eva. Here he says, Saha me priyaha, which is the same thing. Only here he says, Bhakta, and there he used the word Jnani. To break for Manana.
Jai Gurudev. I think today we had a lot of discussion and manana. I would suggest that we do an internal inquiry and we come back tomorrow and we'll repeat this last few paragraphs and then continue. Maybe we can wind up here. And like what Percy ji so beautifully said, we can pray for one another. The highest form of prayer is actually, as someone said, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. So in that, you are also included. So it is not like you're doing a kamya karma, but you're praying for the whole universe. And in that, Gurudev says the Gayatri mantra is the highest form of prayer, in that it seeks for wisdom for everyone. Right? So I think today we'll just chant the Gayatri as well and then do the Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Bhur Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.